you guys ready for Artfight 2025? This video is a deep dive on how to get started if you've never participated in Artfight before. If you're watching this video in the middle of Artfight, it is never too late to join, by the way. I have some tips and advice for seasoned fighters as well. Everything is timestamped, so feel free to jump around, or you can leave this video on in the background as you draw because I love to yap. I also made a quick one-page Artfight guide with a lot of resources. Link is in the description below. This video is broken up into 3 sections: beginner, novice, and advanced. If you have no idea what Artfight is and you haven't even made an account yet, beginner will explain everything, and I'm going to walk you through step by step setting up your profile and where to find everything on the website. Novice is the section where I do a deep dive on how to make everything look super fancy, your profile, your character sheets, as well as give you resources and templates that might be handy. The advanced section at the end are tips for how to get attacks, how to make friends during Artfight, and how to be on the lookout for, toxic users who try to ruin the fun for everyone. Alright, let's get started. What is Artfight? Artfight is an event that happens once a year, usually starting July 1st. On the Artfight website, artists join one of 2 teams that are usually opposing themes. In 2024, for example, the theme was Seafoam versus Stardust. During this 1-month-long event, artists draw, craft, animate, 3D model, and even cosplay. Pretty much you can do anything artistic of someone else's OC. OC meaning original character. Artists upload character sheets along with any information about their original characters, such as lore, backstory, relationships. By drawing other people's OCs, artists gain points for their team. The team that gets the most points wins at the end of the month. This is an event for fun. Winning doesn't mean anything other than bragging rights. It's pretty much a giant art trade event, and it is so much fun. That is the quickest, simplest definition of what Artfight is. Now let's get into the terminology and how you participate in Artfight. Hi, I'm EmoKitsune, mom, small business owner. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Let's get into the video. The concept and terminology behind Artfight is heavily referencing trading card games, so let's dive into what the heck it all means. When you draw someone else's OC from the opposing team, it's called an attack. When you return the favor and you draw their OC, it's called a revenge attack, which is worth even more points. When you attack someone and they revenge attack you back, and you decide to attack them again, that's what's called a revenge chain. So you can have a back and forth with one person if you'd like. When someone attacks you first and you draw their OC back, it's called defending. When you draw an OC belonging to someone of the same team, it's called friendly fire, typically worth less points. When you draw multiple people's OCs, it's called a mass attack, which can earn even more points. But be aware some people don't like group attacks. I'll explain why later, but just know that not everyone likes having their OCs in like a big group attack. And a hit list. A hit list refers to a list of OCs that you have saved and are planning to attack later. If that sounds fun and you want to join, a few things you need to know before I walk you through how to set up your account and how to navigate the website. Otherwise, you can skip this section. 1, you need to be 13 years or older to participate. 2, this is just a for fun event. Some people take Artfight way too seriously, especially in more toxic platforms like TikTok. This goes against the spirit of the event, but don't let these toxic people ruin the event for you. It's for everyone, no matter your art skill level or even what you make. And I'll give you a tip on how to find good beans who will love to draw your OC no matter your skill level. 3, don't burn yourself out. If you don't have time or you can only make a single doodle, that is totally valid. This is supposed to be a laid-back event, so don't be too hard on yourself. 4, AI art is not allowed, so if you are sick of seeing AI slop literally everywhere on the internet, Artfight is a great retreat from that. Also, art made with bases is not allowed for attacks, only for character sheets as a heads up. 5, this event is organized by volunteers and the site runs on donations, so please be kind to the event organizers when things go wrong, like the site inevitably crashing on the first day because thousands of people are logging in to start fighting. Or sometimes the points may feel unbalanced, and the devs do tend to tweak the point system every year. 6, this is an event about giving, not receiving, so don't participate with the expectation of getting art back of your characters and begging for attacks. That is against the site rules. Not getting art back bothers some artists more than they want to admit, so I'm mentioning this up front. 7, you need to prepare for Artfight early. Okay, I know I just said that you can join at any time, but if you want to get the most out of Artfight, the earlier you start prepping, the more you'll be, I guess, better prepared. The event only lasts 1 month, and artists actually start looking for OCs to draw weeks before the event, and they start filling up their hit lists. So I would suggest you make sure your profile and characters are ready to go at least a week before the event starts. You also want to start hunting down OCs and gathering info on who you want to draw before July July 1st, but no pressure if you can't. Again, you can jump in and join at any time during the event. Oh, and one more thing. I highly recommend joining the Artfight Discord, especially if you are new to Artfight. It's very well moderated, and the most enthusiastic and wholesome Artfighters are on there, and they love making newcomers to Artfight feel right at home and helping out anyone with questions. It can be intimidating because there are a lot of people and chat moves fast, but in my experience, I never felt completely ignored and someone always saw my messages and left a reply. It just might just take a minute. All right, with all that out of the way, that's just the brief things you should know before you jump right into Artfight. Now let's do a walkthrough step by step with how to set up your profile. Now let's actually build an Artfight profile together. Don't fuss over the details. Many people build their profiles slowly over a few days. This is just to show you around and so you have something down as a placeholder. If you have already done this, you can skip this section. First, you want to sign up, of course, and confirm your email and head over to the settings, which is found under your avatar here. Let's get our profile set up. This is where you can change your password over here, but we're going to go over here and set up our avatar. Artfight has this really convenient cropping tool, which will come in handy later, but you can use it or uncheck it if you don't need it. I'm all about that dark mode, so we're going to leave that. Now let's set our filters. If you are a minor, or if there's some triggering content that you don't want to see, you can choose to censor or hide it here. Most of this I'm just going to censor, except for moderate nudity. That doesn't bother me personally. I'm going to go into more details later in the video, but Artfight does actually allow nudity and gore and allows for OCs with some triggering topics and themes. But it is very important that you tag these appropriately. iStream, by the way, is for images with bright colors, flashy lights, or trippy patterns, and sensitive content is miscellaneous things you think would be triggering. Now let's type in a quick description here. Later on in the video, I'm going to show you how to really spruce up your profile using all the customization tools to add images, animations, and more. Next, let's fill out our socials. I hope Artfight adds blue sky here eventually because I'm not about Twitter. You can probably guess why. You can also add one custom site over here, so I'm going to put my website. I struggled a bit here because I forgot to put the HTTP, so make sure to put the whole URL address. You can also add links in your profile description as well. So this is where you set global character permissions. Permissions are what people can and can't do when they draw your character. Global means it will show up under all of your characters. Don't worry, you can set custom ones for each character. This just saves you time so you're not writing the same thing over and over again. I have a link to my Artfight survival guide with a list of common do's and don'ts, which we'll go over later in the video. Otherwise, you can copy and paste which ones you want to use. But off the top of my head, as a quick placeholder, I love shipping with my OCs. I'm totally fine of group attacks. I'm pretty open to how my characters are drawn. I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the settings options. We have followed users, so everyone you are following. Followers, everyone who's following you. Account information, going to mention what it says here. Falsifying your birthday is a bannable offense, so don't do it. Contribution history, like I mentioned, this entire event is run on donations and volunteers, so if you can and do contribute, it keeps track of it here. The block list. I hope you never have to use this feature. And you can also download a copy of all your received defense images here. That is images someone drew for you after you attack them. And account deletion, which I also hope you don't need either. And that's a run through of everything in the settings. Now let me walk you through all the other options you have under your avatar here. Characters. This is where you submit, upload, and edit your characters. You have active characters, which are characters everyone can see and assumingly they can draw. Archived are characters you don't want to delete, but you want to hide them away from people browsing. Very handy. I'm going to do a walkthrough of setting up a character later in the video, but let's move on. Bookmarks. This is a nifty feature where you can save OCs you want to draw. So a new feature just recently added under bookmarks for 2025 is you can now create folders, you can name them, you can change the colors, and it just is a better way to categorize and sort out characters that you would like to draw for Artfight. An example for how to use this is maybe you want a folder for revenge attacks, a folder for characters you just like, a folder for friends characters, etc. This will help you prioritize what you would like to draw. Just note the Artfight website typically crashes on day one and is down for an unknown period of time. Last year it was only for a day, that's 2024, but even still, it is advised to save your characters on your computer or someplace else just in case you cannot access your bookmarks. I'll tell you some handy tools to do that later, but it's totally fine if you just want to organize everything on the website itself. My attacks, all the drawings you have submitted will show up here. My achievements, as you participate, you get badges for different things like how many attacks you made. Inbox, you can message people in Artfight, which is handy for making connections and friends. Just use responsibly and don't be a weirdo. Notifications, self-explanatory, just whenever anything happens, attacks, messages, follows, all this will show up here for you. And subscriptions, so any artist that you are subscribed to, it will show what they're up to, so if they posted a new character, a new attack, etc. Now let's talk about points. and how it's calculated. This is the last part for the beginner section, and this is doing a quick summary of how the points are tallied for this event. I won't cite specific points because, like with any game, the developers sometimes tweak and change the numbers, and they don't want people getting hung up on the points, so they don't share the exact numbers of how things are calculated. So you get points by drawing other users' OCs. I'm sorry, did I say draw? You can do much more than just draw, as this event is open to all kinds of creative forms of expression. You can make 3D models, you can craft, you can animate, heck, you can even bake or cosplay someone's OC. The most common form of attack is 2D drawing, so I'm going to focus on that in this video, but if you're not a 2D artist, don't think you can't participate in Artfight, I see you. The only thing that matters is whatever you create needs to be a recognizable form of someone else's OC, which abides by the rules that they set. And the point calculation may be different for you, so check out the other categories if you're interested. I don't have footage of the actual submission process, but everything's pretty self-explanatory when you go to submit your character. Alright, so let's talk about how the calculations works for drawings. Everything I'm showing here can be found on the Artfight website, so feel free to head over there and take a closer look. The first thing that's calculated is how much of the character you drew. You have headshot, half body, and full body. Next, you have finish. Under finish, you must select one of the following. Rough sketch, so these would be quick rough doodles. Cleaned line, these would be clean lines. As it states, color. Next, you select how much color your illustration has. Uncolored. This is if it has no color or the shading is a single tone which does not follow the character's colors or values. Rough color. Very sketchy colors, including sketchy grayscale. Clean color. These are very polished colors. Grayscale can be clean color as well, but like in this example, it has to follow the values of the character's colors. Next is shading. This is similar to the previous category, but is specifically for calculating the complexity of the shading that went into the illustration. Unshaded. This is for flat colors. Minimal shading. This is for soft gradients. There is shading, but does not have a light source, clear shadow to define the form. And then fully shaded, this is where you can clearly see the shadows and highlights in the illustrations, and that includes for flat colors as well. And next we have backgrounds, every artist's favorite thing to draw, ha ha ha, no. Anyways, no background or minimal background, this is important. If the character is not clearly in a defined space and is kind of floating around in front of a backdrop of colors, it counts as no background. If you use a photo or anything that you did not create yourself, it counts as no background. I also want to remind everyone again, AI art is not allowed, so no cheating on those backgrounds. You gotta draw them if you want to get the background points. Next we have pattern or abstract. As the name suggests, if you use a pattern. Props, scene elements, as the name suggests, if your character is shown with a prop or is grounded in some kind of space. And then scene, this is where you just go off on the background. The character is in a fully rendered and realized space. And that is how your illustration itself is calculated. And as you can see, the calculation is not based on skill, but rather effort. If you think you're not a good artist, you can actually earn more points than a higher skilled artist if you just put in the effort and polish. Speaking of polish, we also have polish. Please don't abuse this. This is for if you put in 150% effort into your pictures. I personally have never selected polish because I put in the same effort and time on everything that I always do, and I personally have never felt like anything I've made is polish worthy. This is only if you spend way more time than you usually do and you are really, really proud of what you made. It has nothing to do with skill level. And I think most attacks, no matter how pretty, would not quite be considered polish. This is just an intrinsic judgment that you put on yourself. Please keep in mind, moderators will and have modified points if they catch someone abusing the point system, including incorrectly labeling things. If you do so by accident, it's no big deal. You're not gonna get in trouble. It happens. Some other things that are calculated into the points. Attack, that is if you draw someone from a rival team first, so that's kind of your base attack points. Defend or avenge, this is where you draw someone else's character in return, and this usually gets higher points than the base attack. Friendly fire gets way less than the base attack. In fact, the points you get for friendly fire has been so low, there has been a strong call by the community to maybe up it a little bit, so we'll see if that ever gets balanced in the future. Group attacks, you get extra points for each character. I need to add a little extra note here about group attacks. There has been some controversy with people using group attacks to farm points with minimal effort by doing what is pretty much stick figures of 100 characters. Don't do this, please. It's caused users to opt their OCs out of group attacks, which is a shame. As of writing this, they haven't made any changes to group attacks, but this was a huge issue in 2024. However, don't let that discourage you from doing group attacks if someone has not explicitly explicitly stated that they don't want their OC in group attacks, or allowing your own OCs to be in group attacks. I personally think group attacks are a lot of fun when they are done genuinely. So there are always going to be nuances when you are submitting your art. So if you're unsure, there is an FAQ section here, or you can ask for help from the mods on the Discord. Personally, I find everything pretty clear, so most of you guys shouldn't have any problems figuring out what category your drawing should fall under. But also remember, Artfight is for fun. The points are just a bonus, so don't get hung up on the points or fuss about whether or not you scored your submission properly. Okay, I said that was the last thing, but one more thing before we go into the novice section of this video. So when you submit your drawing, you need to know the character's ID number, which is found here. If you click it, it will copy the whole number for you, which is very convenient. We have IDs for all of our characters, so OCs who have the same names don't get mixed up. You will also need to fill out the username of who owns that OC when you do. An attack or defend option will automatically appear, which will let you select revenge or defend. Make sure if you are revenge attacking or defending, you select this option so you can get those extra points. You can't edit this once you submit, so make sure you double check everything before clicking that submit attack button. The only thing you can edit after submitting an attack is the title and the description. If you do make a mistake on the image itself, you will have to delete the attack and resubmit it all over again. Phew, that was a lot, but we're just getting started. We got the basics out of the way. Now let's start making things look hella fancy. So let's talk about profile. I love going crazy and customizing my Artfight profile, but that's because I am millennial trash that grew up in the MySpace era, so I just absolutely love this. A shiny profile signals to anyone looking to attack you that you are really passionate about your characters and Artfight, and hey, you may even make some friends if you have something in common. Don't worry, it's not that scary, I promise. At the time of this video, use something called BB code to add images, GIFs, and change the fonts and other things. Don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through the options and show myself setting up my own profile. Now, if you donate $25 or more to Artfight, you unlock the ability to use CSS to completely transform your profile and change the background, as well as some other elements. But enough of all that nerdy stuff. On my Artfight guide card page that I made, again, link in the description below, I have templates that you can copy and paste and modify to get you started if you have no idea what to put for your profile. But remember, your profile is how you express yourself, so definitely add your own personal touch. With that being said, I'm gonna just run you through what I have on my Artfight guide, and I'll post the link below once again so you can check it out. First, we have a quick list of things to describe who you are. You can put whatever you feel comfortable sharing. For safety, do not put your age if you are a minor. That's for old people like me. So you have age, pronouns, zodiac sign, country, occupation, title, LGBTQIA orientation. This is a common format as it gives a quick glance of who you are. After this, then you can write an introduction about yourself. I wrote out a little interview of questions that can help you figure out what you want to write. How long have you been doing Artfight? What do you like to draw? What are your goals with Artfight? What are your favorite fandoms? Tell us about your OCs. Want to shout out any friends? Are you open to making new friends? Then you want to add information that is Artfight specific. This lets anyone visiting know how involved you are with Artfight. Do you accept friendly fire? Do you do revenge attacks? Or do you want to make mention that you're a bit busy, so maybe no one should really expect a lot of revenge attacks in return? That's all valid. Let everyone know what your vibe is on your profile. Another written thing you can add are just your favorite things. This is great for making connections with visitors to your profile. Your profile can really leave an impression and can encourage someone to attack with you. It's important to note that DNIs, or do not interacts, are not allowed on Artfight unless it's for age. So if you are a minor, you can request adults do not interact. If you are an adult, you can request minors do not interact. Outside of that, DNIs for anything else is not allowed. I assume it's because people can abuse DNIs to unnecessarily exclude people, start drama, and all that just goes against the spirit of Artfight, which aims to be as inclusive as possible. So that's all the written stuff, but what about the graphics? I have a ton of juicy resources and links, once again, in my Artfight guide profile, where to get blinkies, where to make your own custom blinkies, stamps, cute graphics, and more. Again, feel free to take the opportunity to express yourself. I want to give a shout out to LoveStarK because a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you guys and also using in my own profile, I got from their website. I'll run you through the current Artfight BB code. By the way, BB code was created back in 1998, so it's a pretty old school way to customize and write things, but don't be scared, I got you. You can write and change your text here. You can align the text here. You can format the font type. So you can format the font type, size, colors, and this button here resets everything. And most of these should be self-explanatory if you just hover over the options. I will say when putting in your images, you need to host the images somewhere else. You can't upload them. Or as of making this video, you can't upload images for your profile. I recommend Imgur to host images. You do need to make sure that you're copying the image link, which includes the image's file type at the end of the URL in order for it to work. So that's like .png or .jpeg. Oh, and also you can click and drag the corners to make this window bigger so you can actually see what you're doing. And I will say the BB code can be a bit aggravating to use, but on a side note, the reason why we don't have a more user-friendly customization profile is BB code is very cheap and easy to implement. And remember, Artfight is a volunteer website which runs on donations. In the future, I hope they do upgrade this, but for now, this is what we got. Also remember, most people browse on mobile, so I try to keep my formatting as skinny as possible so it's not a complete mess when scrolling through on a phone. Now, at first, I was gonna have text that says what I like, but I decided it'd be way more fun to make custom blinkies or find images that show the things I like, which I'm showing on screen right now. Everything I use in my profile can again be found in my Artfight guide if you're like, wow, that's so cool. We are artists after all, and we should be embracing self-expression. I can go on a whole tangent about self-expression has been completely taken away from us due to modern social media, but I'm not gonna get into all that. The point is, Artfight is a great opportunity to just be fun and express yourself. Just don't go too crazy with too many moving images as they may slow down your page or be uncomfortable for visitors who are sensitive to flashing colors or lights. And maybe don't have visitors scroll too far down to find your OCs, which are at the bottom, which is what everyone's mainly looking for when they visit your profile page. Now let's talk about Artfight specific graphics. When Artfight starts and you have chosen your team, there are graphics available to show off your support for that team. You can find Artfight themed graphics on their official Toy House page. The link again is in my Artfight guide. I highly recommend filling out something called an Artfight ID card. This ID card is usually passed around to kind of promote your OCs and attract people to attack you. So you can share your Artfight ID card in the appropriate channels in the Artfight Discord, or you can put it on your Artfight profile. Your avatar goes here, and I strongly recommend under the I attack section, put something specific. If you put something vague like, I attack everyone, it's not as appealing as grabbing the attention of someone who maybe vibes with what you prefer to draw best. So I recommend putting very specific types of characters you like to draw and any fandoms in this section. So like male characters, D&D and fantasy characters, Splatoon. Everything else on this ID card is pretty self-explanatory. Something else which is fun during Artfight are borders. So you can grab a border design you like of your team, once again found on the Artfight Toy House page. Don't worry, on the submission page, you can actually upload the border separately and position it over your image thumbnail, which you can scale up and down and reposition as you see fit, all within the website itself. It is so easy. This adds some cool flair to show off which team you are on when you are making all these little decorations and additions really make your profile pop off and shows off your enthusiasm for the event. And here's what my final page looks like. There are others who go off way harder than me, but I'm pretty happy with this. Now let's move on to uploading your characters. Let's talk about character sheets first. You don't need to make super detailed character sheets or descriptions unless you are super picky about how your character is drawn. And even then, you're being gifted a picture of your character, so consider having some leniency if someone doesn't draw them perfectly. Otherwise, honestly, on most profiles, what I usually see is just a single full body illustration of their character and then a short blurb. And that's fine. However, if you want to do a fully turnaround detailed character sheet, you can do that as well. Just don't feel pressured to do so. Anything is perfectly fine. There are some artists who do prefer detailed character sheets because they may not feel confident drawing a character where they can't see everything, or maybe the reference may be lacking some colors if it's just line art. Or some artists, they like to use color pickers to get the color right. I have some example templates you can use, again, in my Artfight guide down below. Now let's move on to description. Some advice for writing descriptions: just having a description at all. I'm a weirdo and I will happily read someone's long backstory about their character, but that's just me. Most people who are just casually browsing won't have time to unpack everything about your character's backstory, so have at least a summary of your character at the top. Maybe even use bullet points, which can be quickly skimmed over. If you want to go all out, then format the more detailed parts of your character so it's clearly separate from the summary. You also want to definitely give your character permissions, aka do's and don'ts list of how to draw them. Please, please, please fill this out. It'll give artists more confidence to draw your characters without worrying what might make you uncomfortable. If your character has relationships with other characters who also have profiles, please, please, please include a link to that profile in that character's description. I personally love drawing people's OCs together, and it's always a hassle to have to hunt down which OC that was mentioned in the description. You can include a link, so don't forget to link back to other characters on your Artfight profile if it's relevant. Use colors to highlight and format everything so there is a clear hierarchy to make it easy to read, especially what's common is people, when they make their do's and don'ts, they'll put their don'ts in bright red, and then anything that they do like, they'll put in green, and that format is pretty helpful. You can drag your characters' thumbnails and organize them. Put the characters you want art of at the front. Some people even put a star in front of some of their characters' name to indicate that this is their favorite. If you go over here, you can edit your characters, and a couple other tabs to be aware of is you have credit. If you want to credit any artists, or if your characters are part of any universes, or if you have fan characters, this is where you put the credits for where the characters are from or who maybe designed them. And then images. Okay, so this was a little bit confusing for me, but each of your characters actually has their own gallery. So this way you can populate your characters with multiple different pieces of artwork, which will also inspire and give people different ideas of how to draw your character. So if you go over here and you want to upload a new character, you do so over here, and each submission must have a thumbnail, so you upload it over here as well. And then at the top here, this is where you submit your main image. So multiple images are going to show up here like this. And it's totally fine to upload pictures of your character that you yourself did not draw. But like I pointed out earlier, there's a credits right there. Make sure you credit any artists that were a part of making any images that you're uploading. Now, before I close out this novice section, we're gonna be serious for a minute and talk about the rules. Please read the rules on the website, but I'm gonna go through some common ones that newbies tend to break accidentally. So the first rule that's really important, you need to be 13 years or older to participate. Do not start drawing stuff for Artfight early. That includes prepping bases. No characters based on real people or personifications of countries. That can cause negative stereotypes, which are pretty common with personifications of countries. Only make art for Artfight during Artfight. Don't cheat and try to start early. Again, this is for fun. Please don't do it. No AI art allowed in any capacity. Do not trade or sell anything made for Artfight. Bases you didn't make can be used for your character sheets, but cannot be used for attacking. No hateful or discriminatory content and behavior. Duh. Nudity is allowed, but must have a filter. So no straight up attacks must be for other users. Design yourself a character or anything similar is not allowed. Okay, so this one's a funny one to me. Exposed male nipple requires a filter. And I want to specify, Artfight doesn't necessarily censor things. You just need to filter it so people can decide whether they want to see that specific thing or not. But the reason why male are censored is, as Artfight says, Artfight stands strongly against sexism and to avoid problems around characters of non-binary genders. I find this amusing but also legit. So if female nipples get censored, the male nipples get censored, all of it, it's all censored. This is true equality and I am here for it. Triggering topics are allowed but must have a filtered and be marked. So I know some of us love our really traumatizing backstories with our OCs. That's totally fine. Make sure you filter it because not everyone is in the headspace or can even handle that. Phew. Okay, we're in the third and final part of this guide, which is advanced things to talk about. Once you have everything set up and you are ready to go, how the heck do we find people to attack? Okay, so there's two main ways you can find people to attack. One, the Artfight Discord. I'm gonna explain the hunting channel in detail a little bit later, but this channel is where people are advertising their profiles and you can skim through and quickly see everyone's Artfight ID, and you can get a very quick vibe of really cool characters you might like to draw. I highly recommend this because only the most active participants of Artfight are usually going to be hanging out in the Discord. Two, if you are not on Discord, you can search up tags on the website and browse around that way. However, make sure you double check if the profile is active. Check to see the last time they were online and if they have any graphics with the current team to see if they are, again, even participating. So that is how you find people to attack. It's pretty straightforward and pretty fun to browse through everyone's profiles. Now we're gonna dive into more serious topics. So let's start with the first one, which is toxic people that join Artfight and how to avoid them. So here's the big one. There are a lot of horror stories about Artfight that make some good YouTube videos, but Artfight, I promise, is super wholesome. There are so many people who go out of their way to attack new people or attack people with no attacks, so don't let the horror stories discourage you. But in my hot take opinion, a lot of the toxic stuff can be easily avoided because it all comes from the same place. This is a bit of my boomer millennial advice here. But TikTok and Twitter was where all the drama happened in 2024, so please don't experience Artfight through TikTok and Twitter, please. If you're like me and don't use TikTok and Twitter, you are completely oblivious to all the drama back in 2024, and you were probably having a great time. If you were on TikTok, you were probably having a really bad time. If you encounter toxic people on social media, maybe just take a break and step away. Join the Artfight Discord, which is moderated and contains only the most enthusiastic and wholesome of people who want to make everyone feel welcomed and have fun. I personally started a Tumblr community for anyone who isn't on Discord to have another option to share their profiles and hopefully connect with other art fighters. So I want to get into more specific toxic behaviors. A type of toxic person that is hard to spot are actually people who masquerade as artists. What they do is they fill their profile with commissions done by other artists of their OCs, then they advertise their profiles using commissioned artwork with no intention of actually drawing anything in return. Do a vibe check on someone's profile to make sure that all the art is consistent, that's actually their art, and that they have attacks, and that they have actually attacked other users, or if they have an art social listed anywhere in their profile. If a profile has none of those things, that's a huge red flag, and I would probably skip that profile. It's one thing if someone can't revenge or draw something back if they were busy, of course, but it's in poor taste when people spend a lot of time trying to get people to draw their characters and they were never planning on paying it forward to begin with. Other toxic people are people who ignore character permissions. Although honestly, I don't think it's as common as some YouTube videos make it out to be. Trolls are always going to be around on the internet, of course, but it would take a lot of effort for someone to make a profile on Artfight, draw a picture, and upload it just to upset random users. Like, it's just way too much effort for people to troll, like, en masse, right? However, if you do encounter stuff like this where people are drawing your characters in poor taste, report the image, and the moderation team is usually on top of stuff like that. Don't let it ruin Artfight for you. Also, sometimes consider that people aren't trolling, they just might genuinely didn't know that what they drew would have been an issue, or they're a bit of a dingus and did not read your character permissions out of laziness, not malice. To be on top of this, just make sure you state very clearly what your character permissions are, both in your global permissions and under each individual character. And those are honestly like the main ones where it's people being toxic for the sake of being toxic and awful. And I also did mention the mass attacks ones earlier. That's another set of toxic people. I do also want to run through a list of Artfight etiquette. So these aren't rules, this is Artfight etiquette that usually newbies might break by mistake. I'm mentioning this for seasoned art fighters because the thing is, some of the things listed here may upset you should you see someone doing them, but consider that it could just be a new user who doesn't know any better. So if you are a seasoned art fighter, please be kind and patient as Artfight grows and we welcome in new people. So I'll just read a couple of the common ones that I think newbies tend to forget. Check and respect characters' do's and don'ts list. Please read them. Don't beg, harass, guilt trip, or emotionally manipulate someone to attack you. You can message the user of an OC if you are unsure of their character permissions or if you're unsure about the idea you have of how to draw their character. Please, for the love of God, put appropriate filters on your art. Artfight is for fun, so chill out and don't point grind. Don't use Artfight to get free art of your OCs without any intention of participating. Again, it's one thing if you're busy and you can't revenge attack, but you have to join genuinely. Links for commissions, and if you have an art shop like myself, it's allowed in your profile, but remember, Artfight is for fun. Don't be pushy about selling stuff. I know we live in a capitalistic hellscape that dictates that our hobbies must become our jobs, you know, hustle, hustle, hustle. But guys, I don't know who needs to hear this, but relax and just draw for fun for a minute. Experiment with your art. Make someone's day by drawing their OCs. Just don't think about money for half a second. I know it's hard because times are tough, trust me, but just have fun with your art. Don't expect artwork back. It's a gifting event. Don't just attack highly skilled artists. This was a hack that TikTokers were saying about Artfight 2024. That is poor Artfight etiquette. Don't do it. The rest of us are gonna absolutely just Don't do low effort mass group attacks for points. The purpose of group attacks, for example, characters that are all in the same universe, it's supposed to be something very wholesome and fun. It's not supposed to be for point grinding. Don't be mean or snub new artists. All skills on Artfight are welcomed. Say thank you when someone draws your OC and attacks you. Be kind and good vibes only. And next, which I'm not surprised a lot of people probably just skip to this section because this is the big questions I've left for the end. how to get attacks and not be annoying about it. So how the heck do you get attacks? This is always gonna be hard, especially for newbies who are jumping into Artfight maybe without any Artfight friends, so don't worry, I got you fam. Tip 1, if you have art friends, encourage them to join with you so you guys can participate together. It will help get your profile started with cool pictures that you guys can draw between each other to show that you are indeed participating in the event and encourage other people to attack you. Tip number 2, join the Artfight Discord. I've said this 3 times already. Post your Artfight ID and profile link in the hunting channel. The channel moves really fast, but don't be discouraged. People will see it, I promise. What you want to do is you want to make a template for your post, save it somewhere like a text file, and once a day, remember to drop into the hunting channel, post your Artfight ID, along with some samples of your art, and copy paste whatever you want to advertise from that template you had saved somewhere. If you have a hit list, also you can give a link for where to sign up for your hit list. I'm pretty sure that's allowed, but check the rules just in case. Speaking of rules, make sure you read the pinned post for the rules for that channel. The earlier you start doing this, the more people will see it. In the middle of Artfight, it gets harder to get attacks, because at that point, everyone is probably up to their eyeballs in revenge drawings that they have to do, or they already have their hit list filled out. Me personally, by the time it was like mid-July, I absolutely could not take on like extra like new attacks. As I'm making this video, it's a month and a half before Artfight. The teams have not been announced, and there is already a constant stream of people already posting their profiles in the hunting channel on the Discord. Tip number 3, make a hit list. A hit list is a list of OCs you want to draw. So there's no guarantee that you'll get an attack back, but having a plan of characters you want to draw that will keep you busy throughout the event will increase the chances of somebody attacking you back. I would recommend having a hit list of OCs from at least 10 different users. It sounds like a lot, but your odds of getting attacked back increases the more you attack others. Very important, do not burn yourself out. We're gonna talk about how to avoid burnout in a minute, but just don't do that if that's just something that you just can't do. Some people use Google Forms to have people sign up for their hit list, which they do advertise. So you can hunt for people for your hit list or invite people to sign up to your hit list. Tip number 4, if you are a baby artist and you're worried that no one wants to attack you because you feel like your art is not good enough, don't worry. Once again, check the Discord. There are people who advertise that they prioritize profiles that have never gotten an attack. And in fact, on the last week of Artfight last year, there was a slew of people on the Artfight Discord being like, who hasn't been attacked yet? Let me know. Let me come to your profile. Again, last week of Artfight in 2024 July in the Discord. You would never hear stuff like that because all the negative stuff about Artfight in 2024 makes for better YouTube videos. But there was a lot of wholesome people in the Discord that were trying their best to make sure that everyone felt like welcomed. So if you can join the Discord, I highly recommend it. And you know what, especially during the last week of Artfight, if you haven't gotten attacks, just be like, hey guys, I did a couple of attacks and I didn't get any. Or again, look for people who are advertising that they want to attack people that haven't been attacked yet. And usually that definitely includes baby artists. If you have fan characters, I highly recommend having fan characters in your profile. Attacking other fan characters will increase the odds of someone attacking you back, as both of you guys are in the same fandom. So if you have, let's say for example, D&D characters or Baldur's Gate characters, attack someone with the same characters. If you have Splatoon OCs, attack other Splatoon OCs. If you don't have a fan character, if you play games where you can customize your avatar, you can also submit that too. So for example, I play a lot of farming games, so I take screenshots of my custom avatar and I whip up a quick picture of them and I throw that up on Artfight, and that counts as an OC, even if it's just like my game avatar of myself. No complex backstory or lore needed. That's totally valid, but that helps you connect with other people in the same fandom space who would love to draw characters from something that they also already like. Attack other artists that are within your skill level. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying to only attack artists that match your skill level. I think that you should attack people based on if you like their OC or not their skill level. But I'm gonna be real here. Higher skilled artists typically snub artists that they don't know or that are lower skilled. So the pros strat that TikTok had for 2024 of attacking high level artists, no, they're like the super high level artists don't draw that many attacks to begin with typically, or they have their own close group of friends which they attack during Artfight. However, if you want to get attacked back, like I said, attack artists that are within your general skill level. So that was 6 tips for how to get attacks. Try them out. This one is something I've never heard talked about in other Artfight videos, but maybe making some friends. You know, we're living in a kind of like loneliness epidemic these days. You know, social media isn't social. I'm not gonna go on my rant about that right now. But Artfight is an actual social event because you're supposed to be interacting and meeting new people. Editing emo here with a PSA. I didn't want to gloss over this because it came to my attention after recording that a lot of people don't understand basic internet safety, and I didn't want to talk about making friends with strangers without taking the time to talk about it. Adults, it is not appropriate to be friends with minors. It makes you an easy target of accusations and controversies. If you must interact or you are unsure of someone's age, keep it limited and keep it cordial. Minors, do not be friends with adults. Even if you're only a few years away from being a legal adult yourself, you are still a minor and it is inappropriate. I also do not recommend blasting your exact age out there, especially if you are a minor. Just say you are a minor. You are painting a giant target on your back. Don't do it. Keep it vague. Whether you are an adult or a minor, set boundaries when you're making friends online and be safe. So, a couple things about maybe making friends through Artfight. Attack and interact with fan characters. A quick kinship is finding people who have their OCs from the same games or shows that you like. I made friends with a fellow Animal Crossing fan because we drew each other's characters, and after Artfight we connected on Discord and we ended up touring each other's islands after the Artfight event, and it was so much fun. Also, chat in the Discord server. During Artfight off season, the Discord moves at a normal pace. It's still pretty fast, but it's pretty normal, and it's always active, so you'll always have conversations to jump into. 3, don't be shy. Just be polite when sending DMs to others if you think you have good chemistry. Just be mindful that people of all ages participate in Artfight, so be safe when connecting with others. And the big one, how to avoid burnout, you nerd. So many artists get burnout before the event starts, so I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm gonna be a mom for a moment and sit you down, and I'm gonna tell you some things. 1, your character sheet does not need to be perfect. You can upload whatever the heck you want. Just upload whatever illustration you made of your character and run with that. It's okay. 2, you don't need to revenge every attack. Most people understand that if you couldn't draw a picture back, that's okay. They won't be mad at you. They won't be disappointed. I can't speak for everyone, but when I draw someone's OC, it's because their OC inspired me and I wanted to make them happy. I absolutely do not expect a picture back in return, and I was more than happy to draw their character. 3, you do not need to point grind. The points are just for fun. Draw whatever inspires you, and the points are just a bonus, and you just get whatever you get based on the drawing that you were able to make for Artfight. 4, sketches and doodles are totally fine if that's all you have time for. Not everything needs to be a fancy, fully colored, finished piece. If you just want to make a bunch of headshot doodles, that's valid. If you only have time to just do sketches, that's valid too. It's okay. 5, if you only have time to draw one picture for the whole month, that is also valid. I'm just happy that you participated at all, so don't feel pressured that you have to do a bunch of drawings. If it's just one drawing you do for Artfight, that's amazing. I love it. 6, real life comes first. Family, school, work. Take care of yourself first, nerd. Artfight is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun and you are stressing out, it is defeating the whole purpose of the event. Maybe just be a spectator and cheer on people on your chosen team. Well, I guess by cheer, maybe leave comments on attacks or pictures you like and just kind of hang out. That's totally valid too. And 7, don't stress if you don't meet your Artfight goals. Shoot for the stars, but if you miss, you will still end up on the moon and be proud of yourself. Now, super important, I want to encourage some wholesome behavior. A bunch of people have rightfully pointed out a lot of super toxic behavior and drama around Artfight, especially during Artfight 2024, where TikTok got a hold of it. Now, I love some juicy YouTube drama and gossip videos and ranting, but focusing the spotlight solely on the drama hurts the event's reputation when most of us were having a perfectly good time with Artfight last year without any issues. And us artists already have to deal with social media hating us for putting out anything that is not a video. Our art is being scraped by AI. We see AI generated images like literally everywhere. Artfight is such a great detox, in my opinion, for online artists, and I highly encourage you to try it out. There is no AI. It is a for fun social art event where people are sharing and appreciating their original characters. To counter all the negative BS, I want to encourage everyone to do any of these wholesome things, especially if you see some negative stuff on Artfight. Put out some positive energy to counteract the negative energy. Don't just rant. Well, you can rant, because I love ranting too, but don't just rant. Well, what you do is you rant first, and then you put out some wholesome good vibes, right? So here's a list of things you can do to counteract the negative, toxic behavior that you may encounter on Artfight. 1, attack people who have attacked others but have not gotten any attacks themselves. Leave nice comments on users' OC pages, even if you don't have plans to draw them. If there's a character you like, let someone know. Leaving comments on attacks that users have made. Oftentimes people draw an attack and they only get a single comment from the person they drew it for and no one else. Comment on other people's artwork. Attack because you like their OC, not their art skills. Encourage and be nice to baby artists whose art skill is a beginner level, and attack at least one person you would consider a baby artist. Like, attack someone who is new and it's their first art fight. Like, make the event fun for them. If you notice that someone has 2 OCs that are a couple, as stated in their description, draw them together. You have no idea how much people appreciate when you take the time to read the description of a character and put 2 of their OCs together that are already a couple or have a certain relationship together. I personally try to do all these things when I can, because the only response to negative and toxic behavior is putting out some positive and wholesome behavior. And some final tips, I want to mention some programs I like that can make organizing things for Artfight easier if you're someone who likes to have all of their references and everything kind of neatly put together. I personally use Imgur for hosting images. I showed how to use Imgur earlier in the video as I was setting up my profile. It's free to sign up and it's just drag and drop from your folders if you're on desktop. The new bookmark changes makes it so much better for organizing characters, but if you're like me, you may need space for reference images, poses, a place to save your character ID so you can easily copy and paste it when you submit the tag, etc. And this is where this video sponsor Milanote. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not sponsored by anyone, and honestly, I low-key think they're kind of expensive long-term. Never getting a sponsorship from them now. Ha! Okay, but seriously, it's a cool program, or app, I guess. And I think that if you can swing the price, it's definitely worth dropping money on a subscription during Artfight to collect your hit list, your, to collect characters for your hit list, arrange characters, notes, references, etc. It's super easy to use. I loved using Milanote, but I'm kind of broke and I already have a bazillion other subscriptions, so I don't recommend it if you're like me. I personally use another program called Obsidian. It's an open source alternative of Milanote. It's not pretty, it's not as user-friendly, but it does pretty much the same thing, and it took me like 10 minutes to figure out how to use it, and it's just, you just install Obsidian on your desktop and it just works. There's no email, there's no account, sign in. What a novel concept these days, right? So I recommend Obsidian if you're on a budget, but Milanote is also legit if you can swing the money for it. On another side note, so right before making this video, Artfight put out an announcement saying they are aware of bots scraping websites for AI training, like what happened to AO3 recently and others. The developers mentioned that they are taking it seriously and they're implementing a bunch of security measures and doing everything they can to block out art on Artfight from being scraped. So nothing is bulletproof, of course, but just note that the fact that they're shoring up their defenses against bot scraping the website means that they're serious about protecting everyone's work the best that they can on the website. Artfight is run by artists and independent developers, so it's not like Instagram, DeviantArt, ArtStation, like literally every other major social media platform who sold us out to OpenAI for easy money. Phew, okay, that was a long one. Again, check out my Artfight guide card. It has everything I talked about, a bunch of links, a bunch of resources. It was a lot of stuff I talked about, but Artfight, it's not that complicated, I promise. Just go with the flow. And like I mentioned before, I made a Tumblr community for anyone who is on Tumblr where you can share your profiles and promo anything related to Artfight. All right, thank you so much for checking out this video. And if you're participating in Artfight, may the odds be for every, no, I'm just kidding. Have fun, nerd, have fun. Draw, have fun, love your art, love your OCs, love yourself. And I will see you in the next one.